things looking ahead. We've talked about ranked choice voting. Obviously, ending the spoiler stigma is important to Maine Green Independent Party. One of the things that you may not recognize, people ask me, well, why would the Greens run spoiler candidates all the time? I'm so mad at them. Why don't they just go away? Is the public perception of our party. And I point out to them, I say, well, why is it that the Greens are running candidates that they know cannot win? Now, situation is different in each individual state, but, and we're in a better situation now in Maine than we were in the 1990s. But in many parts of the country, if you don't run a candidate, you can't get ballot access for your party. Now, who set up that system? That's the system set up by the major parties. The spoiler candidate problem of the Green Party is caused by the major parties, and that's something that most people don't recognize so immediately. I've got to mention the environmental issue of metal mining. I spent 5.5 years defeating a $1 million effort on the part of foreign corporations to do metal mining in Maine. I lost that battle a few months ago. Thanks to the collusion of the Democratic Party and the nonprofit environmental organizations of the state, with the exception of Maine Rivers. All of the other environmental nonprofits that I know of, led by the Natural Resource Council of Maine, pushed through legislation that explicitly allows for permanent, unremediable, toxic contamination of heavy metals and acids in our groundwater. And it has gone so far that the conservation voters just issued a pamphlet last week, a scorecard rating all the legislators. And I got faulted for voting against the bill that explicitly allows groundwater contamination. Now, this is a situation, if anyone in this room is a member of any nonprofit environmental organization in the state, I recommend that you ask their board of directors why they allowed it. Now, they might say to you, oh, it's the best, and they try to explain it away. The proof of the pudding is the law went into effect November 1st. But last month, a public announcement of a purchase and sale agreement by a foreign mining exploration company for the Mount Chase deposit that's 5 miles east of the new Northwoods Monument, cited Maine's new law is allowing them to invest in mining in Maine. So we have, unfortunately, Maine, which had a good environmental record to the point of having even our U.S. senators have to buck their party to maintain some semblance of some issues in dealing with the environment. Maine has had a very good record and now finds itself in a spot where there is no organization willing to protect the environment except for us and the others that have been very active in this, and I want to give them particular, well, Maine Rivers is one, but another is the native peoples of the state have been working for millennia to protect the water. And that leads me to the third thing that I wanted to mention, which is civil rights has got to be, in my opinion, the most important topic for anyone concerned with politics. We have amongst our gubernatorial candidates already a couple of people that have very poor records dealing with civil rights. Now, civil rights is for everyone, and I'd like to quote something that Sherry Mitchell of the Penobscot Nation said a few months ago when she gave a talk in Ellsworth. It was a a meeting of people who were very agitated over the results of the last election, especially at the national level, and we're trying to figure out, how to respond to it. And she wanted to make the point that you cannot cherry pick civil rights for certain groups while ignoring others, as some of our gubernatorial candidates do. So she said, quote, "You cannot protect the rights of any group unless you are willing to protect the rights of all. We will never be able to create a true civil society until the rights of all people are met," unquote. If you've never heard Sherry Mitchell speak, I encourage you to find an early opportunity to do so. And actually, if we could just take a moment, if you'd join me in a few seconds of silence here in recognition of the tremendous work that the Native indigenous people have done for us and are continuing to do for us, and the leadership that they're showing to us. Just for a few seconds. Thank you. That's all I have to say for today, but I'm happy to answer your questions.